Queries are a way of searching for data from one or more tables. Running a query is like asking a detailed question of your database. When you build a query in Access, you are defining specific search conditions to find exactly the data you want. You can review, add, change, or delete data from your database with the help of a query. Using a query, you can answer very specific questions about your data that would be difficult to answer by looking at table data directly. Query. A query is a request for data results, for an action on data, add, change, delete, or for both. You can use a query to answer a simple question, to perform calculations, to combine data from different tables, or even to add, change, or delete table data. You can also use a query to supply data for a form or report. There are two kinds of queries. Select queries. Queries that you use to retrieve data from a table or to make calculations are called select queries. Action queries. Queries that add, change, or delete data are called action queries. You can use queries to filter your data, to perform calculations with your data, and to summarize your data. Our examples in this book use a database that was created by using the Northwind database template. This may also be called Northwind 2010 sample. Some important terms used in query. Design grid. The grid that you use to design a query or filter in Query Design View or in the Advanced Filter or Sort window. For queries, this grid was formerly known as QBE grid. Relationship. An association that is established between common fields or columns in two tables. A relationship can be one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-many. One-to-many relationship. An association between two tables in which the primary key value of each record, int HE_primary table corresponds to the value in the matching field or fields of many records in the related table. Steps to set up Northwind. Click the File tab. Click New. In the left pane, under Available Templates, Categories, click Sample Templates. Under Sample Templates, click Northwind and then click Create. Follow the directions on the Northwind Traders page on the Startup Screen Object tab to open the database and then close the Login dialog window. Creating query to review data in a table. Sometimes you may want to review all the data from a table, but at other times you may want to review only the selected data from certain fields, or you may want to review data only if certain fields meet certain criteria. To review data using criteria, you use a select query. Example: suppose that you want to review a list of products and their prices. You can create a query that returns this information. Open Northwind database. Open the Create tab in the Queries group. Click Query Design. In the Show Table dialog box, open the Tables tab. Double-click Products. Close the Show Table dialog box. In the Products table, double-click Product Name and List Price to add these fields to the Query Design grid. On the Design tab, in the Results group, click Run. The query runs and then displays a list of products and their prices. Review data from more than one table simultaneously. Tables in a well-designed database have logical relationships to each other. These relationships exist on the basis of fields that the tables have in common. When you want to review data from related tables, you use a select query. For example, suppose that you want to review orders for customers who live in a particular city. Data about orders and data about customers are stored in two tables in the same database. Each table has a customer ID field, which forms the basis of a one-to-many relationship between the two tables. You can create a query that returns orders for customers in a particular city, for example, Lucknow, by using the following procedure. Open Northwind. On the Create tab in the Queries group, click Query Design. In the Show Table dialog box, on the Tables tab, double-click Customers and Orders. Close the Show Table dialog box. Note the line called a join that connects the ID field in the Customers table to the Customer ID field in the Orders table. This line shows the relationship between the two tables. In the Customers table, double-click Company and City to add these fields to the Query Design grid. In the Query Design grid, in the City column, clear the check box in the Show row. In the Criteria row of the City column, type Lucknow. Include the single quotation marks. Clearing the Show check box prevents the query from displaying the city in its results, and typing Lucknow in the Criteria row specifies that you want to see only records where the value of the city field is Lucknow. In this case, the query returns only the customers that are located in Lucknow, Company L and Company AA. Note that you do not have to display a field to use it with a criterion. In the Orders table, double-click Order ID and Order Date to add these fields to the next two columns of the Query Design grid. On the Design tab in the Results group, click Run. The query runs and then displays a list of orders for customers in Lucknow. Saving a query. Click on File and then Save, or press Ctrl+S to save the query. The Save As dialog box appears. In the query name box, type Order Lucknow and then click OK. Using parameters with a query. Sometimes you may want to run a query that is only slightly different from an existing query. You can change the original query to use your new criteria, but if you frequently want to run variations of a particular query, consider using a parameter query. When you run a parameter query, the query prompts you for field values and then uses the values that you supply to create criteria for your query. In the previous example, you created a query that returns orders for customers who are located in Lucknow. You can modify the query to prompt you to specify the city each time when you run the query by using the following procedure. Open Northwind. In the navigation pane, right-click the query named Order Lucknow that you created in the previous section and then click Design View on the shortcut menu. In the Query Design grid, in the Criteria row of the City column, delete Lucknow and then type for what city. The string for what city is your parameter prompt. The square brackets indicate that you want the query to prompt for a parameter. Select the checkbox in the Show row of the City column so that the query results will display the city. On the Design tab in the Results group, click Run. The query prompts you to enter a value for city. Caution: neither a period nor an exclamation point can be used as text in a parameter prompt. Type Agra and then click OK. The query runs and then displays orders for customers in Agra. Using wildcards. To make your parameter more flexible, you can use wildcard characters as part of the prompt. If you don't know what values you can specify, you can use wildcards. There are two main wildcard characters: asterisk and question mark. Asterisk replaces all characters, any number of characters. One question mark replaces one character. On the Home tab in the Views group, click View and then click Design View. In the Query grid, in the Criteria row of the City column, type like, square bracket open, for what city, question mark, square bracket close, and asterisk. In this parameter prompt, the like keyword, the ampersand, and the asterisk enclosed in quotation marks allow the user to type a combination of characters, including wildcard characters, to return a variety of of results. Examples. In the city column, if the user types asterisk, the query returns all cities. If the user types L, the query returns all cities that start with the letter L. And if the user types asterisk S asterisk, the query returns all cities that contain the letter S. If the user types S asterisk, the query returns all cities that start with the letter S. If the user types question mark S asterisk, the query returns all cities that contain any two characters before the letter S. If the user types question mark S question mark, the query returns all cities that contain any two characters before the letter S and two letters after it. On the Design tab, in the Results group, click Run. At the query prompt, type India and then press Enter. The query runs and then displays orders for customers in India. Make calculations based on your data. Most of the time, you do not use tables to store calculated values that are based on data in the same database. For example, the order details table in Northwind does not store product subtotals because the subtotal for any given product is calculated by using data that is stored in the quantity, unit price, and discount fields of the order details table. In some cases, calculated values can become out of date because the values that they are based on change. For example, you would not want to store someone's age in a table because every year you would have to update the value. Instead, you store the person's date of birth and then use an expression in a query to calculate the person's age. Use the following procedure to create a query that calculates product subtotals based on data from the order details table. Open Northwind. On the Create tab in the Queries group, click Query Design. In the Show Table dialog box, on the Tables tab, double-click Order Details. Close the Show Table dialog box. In the Order Details table, double-click Product ID to add this field to the first column of the Query Design grid. In the second column of the grid, right-click the field row and then click Zoom on the shortcut menu. In the Zoom box, type or paste the following: subtotal, brackets open, square bracket open, quantity, square bracket close, asterisk, square bracket open, unit price, square bracket close, bracket close, minus, bracket open, square bracket open, quantity, square bracket close, asterisk, square bracket open, unit price, square bracket close, asterisk, square bracket open, discount, square bracket close, bracket close. Click OK. This is the calculated field. The calculated field multiplies the quantity of each product by the unit price for that product and multiplies the quantity of each product by the unit price and discount for that product, and then subtracts the total discount from the total unit price. On the Design tab in the Results group, click Run. The query runs and then displays a list of products and subtotals per order. Press Ctrl+S to save the query and then name the query Product Subtotals. Look at summarized or aggregate data. When you use tables to record transactions or store regularly occurring numeric data, it is useful to be able to review that data in aggregate, such as sums or averages. Microsoft Office Access 2010 provides a new feature, the total row, which allows you to review simple aggregate data in any data sheet. Add the total row to the product subtotals query that you created in the previous example by using the following procedure. Run the product subtotals query and leave the results open in datasheet view. On the Home tab in the Records group, click Totals. A new row appears at the bottom of the datasheet with the word Total in the first column. Click the cell in the last row of the datasheet named Total. Note that an arrow appears in the cell. Click the arrow to view the available aggregate functions. Because the column contains text data, there are only two choices, None and Count. Select Count. The content on the cell changes from total to a count of number of records. Click the adjoining cell, the second column. Note that an arrow appears in the cell. Click the arrow and then click Sum. The field displays a sum of the column values. Leave the query open in Datasheet view. A totals query is a select query that allows you to group and summarize data.